Hello, and welcome to this video all about using different types of information in your information writing. The subtitle is Mix It Up, Variety is the Spice of Life. Alrighty, let's take a look here. So first, I always like to start with why. We need to understand why we do something to remind us to do it, but it also helps us to really think about how to do it well if we know why we're doing it. So first, you want to keep the audience alert. Different types of info, keep them from getting bored, right? It doesn't feel too everything the same. Next, not all types of info work for all people. So maybe for one audience member, a story is great, but another audience member needs dates and facts, and another audience member needs comparisons. Another audience member needs examples. So again, the more different types of information, the more educated your audience will be. It's a lot like being a teacher. Imagine if a teacher only did one kind of thing, just reading out loud. They never did group reading. They never did book clubs. They never did silent reading. They never did audiobooks. They only did one thing. That would get boring and it wouldn't reach every person. So that's what we're thinking about here. Your different types of information help also to make things more clear. If we say it one way, that helps, but another way helps to add more dimension, more detail. Again, all these different ways for the reader to picture it, which is kind of leads to the next one, that helps the audience imagine and connect to your topic by giving examples, by giving dates, by giving statistics, by giving a story, by giving examples, by comparing it. If we were doing writing on paper, we would use things like photos and graphs. We would bold vocabulary words. We might provide a little box with definitions, okay? So here are the different types of info that you could include. And I'm going to add one more that I forgot. And sometimes I remake these videos when I leave something out, but you know what? Not today. Okay. Now these I chose specifically for our style of presentation. So because we have a verbal presentation with no graphics, I didn't include some things that I might have included, as I said, photos, diagrams, maps, graphs, charts, things like that. Okay. So you might include facts. I hope you include facts. You might include direct quotes from your research. You might include examples to illustrate your point. You might include stories, whether they're personal or of others. Obviously, you may not have lived through the French Revolution, so you don't have personal stories. I, as a roller skater, have personal stories about roller skating. You might give comparisons, dates, questions and answers, statistics, and definitions, which I just added. So here is a sample paragraph. Let's take a look at this. And then I'm going to break down what's in it. I like that all I need to skate is a pair of skates and some concrete. It's interesting to note that from the beginning, roller skating has appealed to large parts of the population, regardless of social class or race. In the 1909 article, London Society is seized with roller skating mania, Paul Courage remarked, "It is interesting to see how democratic English people can be when they are victims of a fad. At these rinks, grand ladies and shop girls are all on the same level, both socially and physically, as they glide around. You can't tell them apart." The author is clearly shocked by the mixing of grand ladies and shop girls, but this is exactly what makes skating so special. It breaks down barriers and unites. In the 1980s, as hip-hop was just beginning, many hip-hop artists were not welcome in traditional music venues, but roller rinks would book them to play live for skaters. For example, according to the New York Times, Dr. Dre got his start as a DJ spinning at Skate Town in Los Angeles. Other acts like Salt-N-Pepa and MWA also got their starts in roller skating rinks. Okay, so let's take a look at what I did here in this paragraph. First, I started with a personal story, a very short one, a sentence, but I connected it to me personally. I like that all I need to skate is a pair of skates and some concrete. Okay, what did I do next? Then I included a historical quote from 1909, like a quote from almost like you think of it like a primary source, a source from the time period. It's not technically primary because it was somebody primary to that time period. So there's my quote about how the shop girls and the grand ladies roller skate together. Gasp. Next, I provided a summary of some facts. In the 1980s, as hip-hop was just beginning, many hip-hop artists were not welcome in traditional music venues, but roller rinks would book them to play live for skaters. And then I gave another direct quote from my research from the New York Times, much more current. Dr. Dre got his start as a DJ spinning at Skate Town in Los Angeles. And then I gave just a few more examples to build to that. Salt and Peppa, NWA. Unless you're an 80s hip hop fan, you may not recognize those names, but that's okay. Google them. Okay. Here is another paragraph. You can stop watching if you've gotten the point. If you'd like to watch another paragraph go by, here's another one. The roller skate that I bought, or the roller skates that I bought, but that's on their personal story, with 2 wheels in front and 2 wheels in the back, referred to as a quad among skating enthusiasts. Definition: quad. That's a vocab word. A quad skate. That's the 2 and the 2, what you think of for roller skates, hopefully. Was invented in 1863 by New York furniture dealer inventor James L. Plimpton. Here I have a date. I'll get up to it. This new quad design was key because it allowed the wearer to turn, quote, as if they were on ice, according to James Turner, author of The History of Roller Skating. Now I give a comparison. Imagine trying to drive a car with no steering wheel. There'd be a lot of crashes. Okay, so I'm trying to point out how tricky it was to be on a roller skate that couldn't turn by pointing out that if you were in a car that couldn't turn, oh yeah, that would be bad. Because first you might be like, who cares? Do you need to turn? You do. You do, in fact. Now I have some facts and description. The quad skate can turn because of the parts of the skate under the boot. Screwed to the bottom boot is the plate made of metal or plastic. The plate is where the turning magic happens. Connected to the plate are the trucks which hold the wheels. So again, I'm doing some defining, some description, some facts. Now I give a comparison. If you are a skateboarder, your trucks are very similar. So maybe honestly, I'm not a skateboarder, but I know people who are, and they've mentioned, I have trucks too. So that's, I thought, a way to connect with someone who might have a comparison there. Roller skate trucks, I'm right here. I'm going to pick up before I come into the pink. Roller skate trucks have a pivot arm and cushion that allow you to lean and glide in an arc. Again, there's a fact. I'm also defining some key terms. The last major component of a roller skate is the toe stop. Definition: a circular rubber disc that attaches to the plate and allows the wearer to slow down and stop. Now we have a fun fact. Something that's nice to end a paragraph on a fun fact. Interestingly, many dance skaters remove the toe stop to do advanced tricks and spins. It allows them to go forward and up on their toes and do kind of cool things that the toe stop would get in the way of. So there I have a fun fact. Fun facts are another type of information, right? Something kind of fun and playful, but it is a fact and it is a connection to a specific fact that I learned from my research. Okay. So this was a presentation all about using different types of info in your information writing. So read back over your paragraphs. Do you provide a variety of pieces of information? My goal is for students to incorporate at least one direct quote somewhere in their presentation. Eventually, we're going to get to the point where you need at least one per paragraph. If you notice, both the paragraphs I showed had a quote. Okay, thanks, and I hope this was helpful.